Howdy, this is Shannon Kringen. It's my little comedy bit that I'm doing the rough draft. Okay, here we go. Hey, I'm Shannon Kringen, and I am wondering how many of you speak Kringonian? My name is Kringen. Kringonian, Kringen, Kringonian, Kringen. I'm kind of a walking contradiction. I'm kind of like a naked Amish person. I'm not an atheist or religious, but I'm very spiritual. I'm an introvert extrovert. I'm a vulnerable Viking cactus hugger. I'm loud, but I'm quiet. I love animals, but I also eat animals. I identify as a free-range human being. To me, it's common sense, but to others, I seem unusual, I'm told. My whole life is kind of an improvisational art experiment. I'm neurodivergent on the autism spectrum. In high school, I was known for hand painting shoes. In my 20s, I painted some for musician Tori Amos, in fact, and she wore them on stage at the Paramount Theater in 1996. Okay. I'm an only child of parents who split when I was 4. And let's just say I don't blame myself for my parents getting divorced. I kind of blame myself for my parents getting married in the first place. Tom Petty widens my jetty, I'll just say. Tom Petty is my service musician, by the way. Long story, heard Refugee, the song on a pizza parlor jukebox when I was 11, and I ran over to the jukebox to see, and it was love at first listen, and it's the music of Tom Petty, who widens my jetty, has been my constant companion for like ever since I was 11. So let's see, let's do the math. I'm 56 now. That's a long, long time. Little did I know, may he rest in peace, but Tom Petty has been widening my jetty since I was 11. And that is like a double, triple entendre. It sounds X-rated, but really what it means is he reinforces me like a service animal reinforces somebody who needs that. Um, I'm kind of obsessed with trying to figure out my parents. I'm not really compatible with any boyfriend I've ever had, I don't think fully, because I'm probably not compatible with myself. I have kind of a checkerboard childhood in the wild livelihood, if you know what I mean. And I've never had kids or a spouse. I've never even lived with a roommate. I've lived with a couple boyfriends. Not a good idea. I need my space. I have synesthesia. She shapes when I hear music. I don't like drinking or smoking. I'm not into alcohol. I'm not into smoking anything. I don't do the marijuana. I'm not into that. I know everybody in Seattle does, but not me. Most of my friends do, but not me. People think I do. People assume I do, but I do not. Although recently I experimented with magic mushrooms and I was like, whoa, that's what they're talking about. I can see why people think I'm on drugs because, oh my God, it's Kring TV show. I used to be like, ooh, everyone thought I was on drugs. I really like look at tree branches and water ripples and shapes and waters, and I go, ooh, and I trip out on that. So that's just normal to me. So when I consumed the substance that was psychedelic, it just enhanced what I already kind of felt normal in my brain. I did a public access TV show called Goddess Kring in Seattle where I danced around naked with body paint. I did monologues about my life and I freaked out on camera for 15 years. I did my show every week. It was an experiment. And guess what my day job is? I wrote a song about it called, well, here it is. Never shave my bush. You can draw my tush. I get paid to daydream. Funny as it may seem. Another day at the office with my clothes off. I'm a figure model for artists. I'm routinely around others in a classroom setting nude for them to draw and paint from human form. Also work with med students acting as a medical patient, anatomy in a whole different way. I take hundreds of photos of myself, self-portals I call them. I trip out on shapes when in water. I'm spacey, blah, blah, blah. I guess I already said that. Okay, this is just my rough draft video. Did I say I was left-handed? Yes, I'm left-handed. I was a stage kid wanting my parents to get out in the limelight. My dad writes his own comedy and folk music, but never has gone on stage. He's currently in his 80s, my father, and he's super fit and healthy. He's the same age as Mick Jagger, and I could say pretty much, not exaggerating, he's as fit as Mick Jagger, who is amazing. Um, And I wanted my mom to crank out art and mix music, movies, art, and group gatherings like Andy Warhol. Come on, mom, get up there and do your thing. And she's like, I don't want to be famous. My mom had other plans. My mom was heavily and still is interested in, she's a very deep thinker, and I am too. Although I kind of have a wacky sense of humor, but my mom is a very deep thinker, and I respect that and admire that. But I'll just say it's unusual to have a dad who's very agnostic and into athleticism and comedy and folk music that he writes himself. And my mom was into she is into Advaita Vedanta, non-duality, Krishnamurti, Eastern philosophy, and quantum physics. And my mom makes very unusual, unique, one-of-a-kind art inspired by the shapes in nature, and I also do inspired by the shapes of nature. Let's just say that my mom and dad both did not want to be famous, and I'm like, come on, we'll be famous because I wanted to be on stage, and I thought, well, if my mom and dad get on stage and they make it big, then I could do it. And let's see, so I like to say I went to alternative schools called Abraxas and Tominaus. I had an unusual checkerboard childhood in the wild livelihood. My biggest influence as a kid and teenager were Shirley Temple and Mick Jagger. In one of my Kringonian Pizzazz poems, I say, drowning in frowns, dagger that introduced Jaggerisms, monkey rat dragon not braggin', standing in the land of barefoot grounded traction. You got to listen to it. It's called let's see, only child. I'm an only child. I'm a little bit wild. I'm a left-handed green-eyed Nordic goddess. I promise I will make you smile. I got the Kringonian style. And it goes on from there. So that's one of my songs. I gave back to Jeff Bridges on the set of American Heart, where I was an extra. Nude photos of myself. Not appropriate. I know that that was in my lusty lady days, so I had kind of a skewed version of reality, thinking everybody accepted nudity and thought it was totally natural and normal, because I'm kind of a naturist. And Jeff Bridges, I told him how much I loved the Fisher King movie when it was new, and he looked at my note and said thank you, and then he looked at photos of me and he said, "Oh, did you paint your boots?" Because in those photos I was wearing nothing except my hand painted boots. So that's very gracious of Jeff Bridges to handle it in that way. If anybody out there knows Jeff Bridges or is a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend of Jeff Bridges' manager, please say sorry about that from me. Okay, that was inappropriate, but whatever. At the time, I was just, I don't know, wanting to meet Jeff Bridges. So there it is. Um, so now that I've clearly explained all my ideas to you in Kringonian, bye bye.